Hey y'all, I'm back with my Beverly Hills recording, or my Beverly Hills recap. So I did not recap episode 6 last week. So just real quick, what stood out to me was Sutton confronting Bose about using the word weaponize, and Sutton saying, I didn't like that word. My feelings were hurt. And y'all know how I feel about Sutton. For those of you that don't, let me make it plain for you. I've never seen it for her. I'll give her her tens as far as um when she brings, the things, the mess, the how she assimilates into the group. I just don't care for her. And I particularly don't care for her always. It's always about Sutton. So whenever Sutton feels a certain way, it's that's not nice. I didn't like that. Oh, but you speak so well, Bose. Slow blink, like them baby dolls whose eyelids, when you hold their head back, they blink slow. That's what I gave her on that. Um, and Boz holding her own, and then Kyle and Dorit getting into it at the end of the episode at the Viper Room. Um, so last week they were arguing. Kyle said that she used to text, that she texts PK, but just memes and jokes. All of the ladies were like, they wouldn't like that. So then Kyle was forced, I feel like, to then be like, oh, but I won't do it anymore, even though I don't feel like Kyle necessarily means it. But sort of like when Dorit on Kathy Hilton's trip earlier in the season mentioned that Kyle ices her out, and Sutton says, oh, I've experienced that too. Then Kyle turns around and says she can acknowledge that and apologize. I felt like that was this happening all over again. When all the ladies were like, I wouldn't like that, you talking to my husband. So now she's like, oh, I wouldn't do it. So this particular episode, this next episode, we pick back up. Dorit Child in the confessional, Dorit mentions Kyle's veins popping out of her head. So Kyle is saying, I apologize, and I've said to you, I will not talk to him again. What more do you want from me? And the veins was popping. Dorit says, I want you to stop effing raising your voice at me. Dorit kind of leans forward, and she's telling Kyle, you don't get to speak to me that way. Child of ladies are like, whoa, 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 whoa. Dorit says the rules are different. You don't get to scream F you. Child Erica hops up, goes over to calm Dorit down. Is like, Dorit, stop. Stop. You have to stop. You have to stop. In her confessional, Dorit says that Kyle's vein is popping out of her forehead, and that's telling her that Kyle is guilty. Child, she knows she did something wrong, and now she's just trying to get aggressive and scream so that I will back down and shut the conversation down. That's not happening, vein or no vein. I said, no. Okay. In Kyle's confessional, she says, it's making me so angry because we were in a better place. And now she said what she said tonight to make me look bad, but I know she doesn't genuinely feel like this. Stop. So now remember, what prompted, I think, it to go to the next level last week was because Dorit asked her, are you texting PK? That's what it is. So Kyle says, I don't beat a dead horse. Like back in the scene, Kyle says to Dorit, I'm not beating a dead horse. I don't like to do that. So wait a minute, child, my notes. I'm like, what? Oh, so Dorit was getting ready to say something to Kyle in this moment. Kyle says, I don't want to beat a dead horse. And Dorit's like, Kyle. And Garcelle steps in and says, how do you know that she was texting PK? And again, that's what we all want to know, because what we saw last week was Erica and Dorit on, I believe it was on FaceTime, and Erica asked didn't Erica ask, is Kyle texting PK? I thought, I heard a noise on my little table that I'm recording from. Y'all, no, I know ain't nothing on. Must be paper. Listen, but anyway, so I was wondering, well, what made Erica ask that out of the blue? Did something get cut? Because it seemed like she asked her out of the blue. Maybe I need to go back and watch that scene, but y'all let me know. She asked her that out of the blue. Dorit says, I don't know. And then Dorit asks her last week, and then we are here, the blow up. So anyway, Garcelle says, how do you know she was texting PK? Dorit says, I had no idea, so I asked. Garcelle said, when you started talking, I thought you were going to share your relationship with PK, and then we got off the rails. It's like, how are you doing? Even Kyle and Sutton looked at each other like this. If y'all are watching on YouTube at We Go Podcast, then you'll see the expression that I duplicated. Dorit says, do you mean that like genuinely? Now, in her confessional, Dorit says, really? You see the emotional state that I'm in and you want to try to connect with me for the first time in 2 years? So Garcelle laughs and said, yes, I just asked you. And back in her confessional, Dorit says, read the room. At the table, Garcelle says, oh my God, am I next in line? Now, here's what I'll say to this. First of all, I need to make this very clear. It's weird how people crucify Garcelle for things and not other housewives. I'm rooting for everybody Black, while at the same time, I can still call out when I feel like, Garcelle, now look, you being a bit shady or you being a bit this, like we're supposed to call out all the housewives, right? It was a swift transition for Garcelle to be like, I thought you were going to tell us about your marriage with PK. How are you? But then also at the same time, I felt like going back, it kind of wasn't. It doesn't mean just because her and Dorit aren't the closest doesn't mean that she's not like Dorit is saying she's seeing my emotional state. And that could be the case. That's why Garcelle was asking. Like in her mind, Dorit is watching this play out and is like, I've never seen Dorit like this at all. So let me ask her, girl, how are you? I mean, because at the end of the day, Garcelle is a woman who has been through a divorce. So I could see both sides, but Dorit being like, girl, you asking me now, and Garcelle being genuine, like, because what I just witnessed now for real, we ain't really cool like that, but how are you? But when Garcelle said, oh my God, am I next in line? At that point, Dorit gets up to leave. Erica walks her out. Outside, Dorit tells Erica, I don't want to walk out on you. This is your night. Erica's like, it's okay, boo. You don't have to apologize to me. Inside, Kyle is saying, I lost it. So Bose said, maybe she's trying to get it all out. Sutton said, don't get it out on all the people that don't deserve it. Really? Because when you was trying to get stuff off your chest back 2 seasons ago, see, come back. Come back. I want you to come back, come back, come back, come back to me. I need to remember to come back every time. Punisher, come back. Because I was getting ready to be like, you take your stuff out on people. Sutton says, don't take it out on people who don't deserve it. Bose says, but how does she know? How does she know if Kyle deserved it or not? Sutton says she doesn't deserve it. So Kyle is telling Bose, listen, you don't know the history. Bose says there's a lot of things that you think are cute and funny, and then something changes and you don't think it's cute and funny anymore. I like how Bose is trying to look at it from Dorit's. I like that she has fresh eyes, but then also I think Kyle, it is true. They don't know the history, but see, then that puts the new person in a rock and a hard place because everybody always says, let the new person come in and get to know everybody for themselves. But then as they're trying to develop relationships like Bose and Dorit, because they clicked, it's like, well, you don't know the history. So basically you can't speak on it. But then if she doesn't speak on it, people, the audience, people, oh, she ain't getting involved. She ain't speaking up. So it's like new people, new wives, I are in between a rock and a hard place, kind of, sort of. But I like how I like how Bose is very vocal and calls out what she sees and doesn't mind or doesn't take offense to somebody being like, well, this is going on and maybe you don't know that because of this. You know what I'm saying? So she doesn't get offended very easily. And I like that. So I can see what Bose is saying though. Like, it's cute at first and then it's not cute no more when I go through something. So whatever. So in her confessional, Kyle says, I can see how this looks to people who don't understand the friendship, especially the newer people in the group. And Dorit knows that too. That's why she's doing it. But she had to come up with something. Otherwise, she's the a-hole. Jennifer Tilly says, do you think she thought PK was texting you something besides memes? Bose said, I would have thought that. In her confessional, Erica says, Dorit is having a hard time personally, and she's no longer putting up with the ish out of Kyle, which lets me know Erica recognizes, even though they're friends, Kyle be up to some ish too. And they say all this in the confessional. I wish they sometimes would say it more in the moment, but uh I'm sorry, Erica says, but I've never seen Kyle like this. Wait a minute. Oh, I've never seen Kyle act like this either. I've never seen Dorit lunge towards Kyle, which I don't feel like Dorit lunged. A lunge is like what Lisa Rinna did when she got up and lunged when Kim told her, let's not talk about the husband I had told her before, eat a piece of bread. That a lunge is coming for somebody. I think Dorit was just kind of like leaning in, like they were all getting active because Kyle leaned in a couple times too. So, but anyway, Erica says, I've never seen Kyle like this. I've never seen Dorit lunge towards Kyle. I've never seen Kyle's vein pop out of her head. I don't know what the F is going on at the Viper Room, but wow. Now they're at Sutton's house. Cameron's at Sutton's house, and Kyle arrives and sits down and says, I still have my panties in an effing twist. First Sutton says they're having a country club day. Then they sit down. Kyle says, I have my panties in an effing twist. I haven't lost it like that in a very, very long time. With the veins popping out and everything. She said this happens when she gets really upset. And she said it's been so long. Basically, she was trying to say it's been so long since the veins popped out of her head, like with Camille in New York, when she told Camille she was a liar. So she said, when I get upset, I black out. Now, in her confessional, not to her, but in her confessional, Sutton says, I think Kyle gets upset when people stand up to her. And I think for years, Dorit has been cowering back. And now all of a sudden she's standing up against Kyle. Why you ain't say that? Why don't you say that to Kyle? Even if you don't say that in front of everybody, say that to Kyle, because I would love to see Kyle's reaction in the moment. Kind of like reminds me of New York, not to sidetrack real quick, when a lot of people will say that Brent is messy, Brent is poking Uba, Brent is doing this. They say that all in the confessional, but not to Brent's face. But anyway, Garcelle arrives. She said her head is still spinning from the night before. Kyle's like, I know, I just told Sutton that, basically her panties were still in a bunch. Garcelle says, I mean, y'all were literally coming for each other. They go and they get ready to go hit some tennis ball. Garcelle pretends that her arm is hurt so she don't have to play. After they hit some balls, they sit down, and Kyle says the first call she made that morning was to Mo. He told her that PK was having a really hard time last night and he was feeling down. I said, well, I'm sorry. I just can't be friends with him. And he was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And I said, well, if it bothers her, I can't. Calculate it to me, because the whole issue was Kyle being there for Mauricio, right? Kyle being friends with Mauricio. Now you call Mo. Mo tells you that PK just had such a bad night. And she's like, well, I can't be friends with him. Not even like, oh, he had a bad night. Like, were you there to cheer him up? Did you get to kind of talk him off the ledge? It was, well, I can't be friends with him. And then Mo responds back, oh, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And she's like, but no, it matters to Dorit. I feel like that story was calculated. And that's me. Everybody may not think that. Anyway, so Garcelle says, I mean, like I said last night, if it were me, I would be upset. Sutton says, I wouldn't like it either, meaning Kyle texting PK. Kyle tells Garcelle, not Sutton, Garcelle, you had a different situation. And Garcelle said, I feel it's similar, though. Not the infidelity, because Garcelle's cause of her divorce was infidelity. She said, not the infidelity, but being angry at one another. So like, here they are, you're a couple, you're going through a divorce, angry at one another, or separated, angry at one another. And my friend is texting, even though we're in a rough patch, she's texting my ex, who I'm angry with. Sutton says, well, but I wonder why she didn't say that to Sutton. Why she didn't say, Sutton, yours was different too. Sutton says, you had infidelity. Let's not forget that part. Kyle says, what part? Sutton says, infidelity. Kyle says, who did? Sutton says, you did. Kyle says, no, I didn't. Sutton said, with Mo. Garcelle was looking like, oh my God, like, what is happening? What is going on? And it was like, you could tell there was a part of her that wanted to be like, girl, hush. And there was another part that was like, keep going. like Michael Jackson eating the popcorn, like, keep going, keep going. Sutton says, you talked about it. And Kyle was like, when? So they brought up the flashback, Kyle at last year's reunion, saying that something happened between her and Mo and it caused her to lose trust. But she never said what. In her confessional, Garcelle said, this is definitely the unspoken thing. No one brings it up. Basically, they've been hearing rumors about Mo for years. I'll just say, I mean, ain't not even, listen, the rumors that made its way all the way over to the East Coast. But anyway, so Kyle says with the Instagram, and they show a flashback to last year when they were all out talking about husbands, like communicating with women in DMs. And Kyle says, yeah, I had a problem with that with Mo, basically. In her confessional, the producer asked Sutton, are you talking about Instagram? And she says, no. Then she says she has a problem where things just slip out of her mouth. Kyle says, that's different. Sutton says, okay. And then Kyle says, it's just the way that Dorit went about it. It was annoying. She says she knows it doesn't bother her. So Garcelle said, I think that she just wants you to take her side in it. Like that's supposed to be her homegirl. Yet again, they're going through a patch, but we're supposed to be close. So Kyle said, Garcelle said, I just think she wants you to take her side. And Kyle's really trying to justify like the memes and the jokes. Sutton said, is that really all it is? Just memes? Kyle said, I mean, I've sent messages. Sutton says, so you never talked about the relationship at all? Kyle says, never. He's smarter than that. And when she said that, I was thinking, oh, does she mean because he thinks that if he sends stuff about their relationship that Kyle will go back and tell Dorit because they were good friends? I don't know. So Kyle says, I don't know this girl. I don't know who this is right now. I won't be friends with someone who's going to continue to do that with me. That's for sure. But it's interesting because a few minutes ago, when you said you talked to Mo and Mo said PK was having a hard time, you said, I can't be friends with him. When Mo said that was the stupidest thing he ever heard, you said, but if she doesn't want me to, then I won't. Which would indicate to me you're doing that because you plan on being her friend. But now you're saying you're not going to continue to be friends with someone who's going to do that to you. So which one is it? Anyway, she says, I'm not going to continue to be friends with someone who would do that to me. That's for sure. Right now, there's absolutely no incentive for me to try to fix things with her. Who wants to be around that? Sutton says, not me. Garcelle says, I don't. And Kyle says, not it. But again, you just told Mo earlier that morning, right? Okay, moving on. Erica and Dorit meet up at her designer store, the person who's designing her house. She gets a new couch. It was cute. In her confessional, Erica said basically style is not having an unlimited budget. Style is when you have a budget and you say, I can take these things here, mix them together and make it look effing fabulous. That style. So, and she also says Tom's second wife basically pulled up an 18-wheeler to the house when she divorced Tom and took everything. She says she didn't do that. She was trying to do the nice thing and take like 4 cups, 4 plates. She says she should have done what Tom's first wife did, but then if I did it, it would be a big deal. She takes a sip from her cup. Her and Dorit sit down on the couch and recap the night at the Viper Room. Dorit says, I love talking to you. You and Bose really are the 2 people that I've been confiding in the most. And then to hear that there are people in the group that actually have issues with our friendship. Erica says, what is that? They show a flashback to a day earlier where it's Bose, Dorit, and Erica on a hike. I thought that was a cute trio. On a hike. Bose says, I was telling you that Sutton basically was telling Bose, you're always with Dorit. You can get to know us as well. And Erica was like, so what that you're always with Dorit? And back in the scene, Dorit says, honestly, I have no idea. I can't make sense of it because I would have had an issue like that in elementary school. In her confessional, she said, they're like, meaning Kyle and I guess Sutton are like, come on, be on my side. So basically she's saying they're immature. Erica says to Dorit, what do you need from Kyle in order to move forward? Because for a second, you 2 look like you were moving forward. Now the Viper Room happened, post Viper Room. What do you need? Dorit says, what hurts is that Kyle didn't tell her, look, I've been texting PK. I do wonder, because they were in a particular space that Kyle was like, I don't know how to tell her. But then to hear Kyle tell it, she reached out to PK, but she didn't reach out to Dorit at first because she didn't want her text to be misconstrued like she was only reaching out um because so Dorit wouldn't call her out. And because Dorit read her text, blah, 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 blah. But I do wonder, like, if that's the reason that Kyle didn't tell Dorit was because she was like, well, I don't really know how to tell her that. I don't know. I just feel like when your friend is going through that and y'all have been friends for years. But anyway, uh, so she says she wanted Kyle to tell her I text PK, but it feels secretive. Then her reaction makes me feel like, whoa, even if he's reaching out to you, even if you want to maintain a friendship, which is okay. Erica said, yeah, that's fine. It's just right now, it's not clean. That's what Erica's saying. I can see why you feel that way. Dorit says, make me feel like I can trust you. Erica says, do you need to see the phone? Dorit says, I think I need to understand why she flipped out so much. Do you think if the tables were turned and Kyle asked me the question, I asked Kyle, would she not have reacted not good, basically? You think Kyle would be okay with that? Child Erica said, no, I don't think so. Both of you are in a very unique situation. Both of you are separated at the same time. Tensions are very high. You're emotionally raw, the both of you, but I do agree with you. The tables had been turned. She wouldn't be happy either. Like she wouldn't be, and Dorit said, yeah, she wouldn't be happy with any of it. Not the texting, not the sharing, and certainly not the reaction. So it's interesting. Erica is agreeing with Dorit. Like Kyle wouldn't be happy with the reactions that Kyle are giving me. If the situations were reversed, Kyle wouldn't be happy if I gave her those reactions, basically calling her a hypocrite. Now it's 4:30 a.m. and we're at Bose's house. Her man, Keely, is that how you say it, Keely, comes to pick her up to take her to fibroid surgery. I'm glad that she's speaking about this because, Black women have the highest rate of fibroids. I myself went to the emergency room 2 years ago and it was like oh my God, the pain was so bad. I didn't know what it was. They thought it could be my appendix, but it ended up being a mass of fibroids. Um, but I haven't had to have surgery. So shout out to Bose, for talking about it. In her confessional, she says she's 47. She wants to be able to have the chance to carry a child. Her and her man have been having really serious conversations about their future. And they show the flashback when they were on the beach. And he's saying, I don't have kids yet. And I would like to have between 1 and 3. I'm sorry, he wants to have 1 to 3 kids. Child. He said, I would like to pass on my genetics. Both said, I don't blame you. You got good genetics. She says she's 48. She said that Keely is 48, has never had any kids, never been married. She has one, but she wants to start a family with him. She said if this fibroid surgery doesn't go well and she can't carry kids, that's going to be a conversation that they're going to have. If I can't have his baby, I don't know if that changes things. We fast forward to 4 hours later, and her and Keely are arriving back home. He gets her all set up in the bed. 5 hours after that, Kyle arrives. And I was wondering if Keely was still there because Nico was the one that answered the door. So I was just wondering. Anyway, 4 hours later, they're home. 5 hours later, Kyle arrives. Nico answers the door and lets her in. They give each other hugs. She goes upstairs and sees the flowers. Bose says, by the way, thank you for your flowers. And oh, look, they're right next to Dorit's. I don't know how that happened. Kyle says her flowers were prettier. Both flowers were gorgeous. In the confessional, Kyle says, I was paying attention to her wording. I think that Bose is fitting in well with the entire group. She seems to be open-minded, even though she's opinionated. Now she's open. She seems to be really open-minded, and she does have a lot of opinions, even if she said, which is good, because she definitely has a lot of opinions. But she said she seems to be open-minded, even though she's opinionated. Anyway, Kyle says, however, I was hurt by her comments the other night at the Viper Room. And that was when Bose told Kyle that she broke girl code for texting Mauricio. Kyle says, I think that her idea of who I am may be tainted. And they show a flashback to when they were on Kathy Hilton's trip. And again, Dorit said, Kyle, I'll do something and you ice me out. And Sutton says, hey, I've experienced that. So Kyle's like, I feel like her perception of me may be tainted. But Kyle admitted that night that she does do that, and that's something she needs to work on. So is that perception or reality if she feels that way? Anyway, uh, in her confessional, Bose says, oh, because Bose is like, I'm not sure why Kyle is, not that I'm not sure why Kyle is here, but Kyle, there's many reasons that Kyle could be there. She said Kyle could be there to get to know her. One is because, one, it could be because she's spending time, a lot of time with Dorit. So Kyle maybe wants to give her perspective so that I can have a more balanced opinion, or so she can win me over to her side. So I like how Bose said, or so I can have a balanced opinion. Because that's what I'm saying. People keep saying, oh, Bose, don't be fooled by Dorit. Don't be fooled by Dorit. But I think Bose is smart. And she happens to click with Dorit, even if it was, I won't say surface because Dorit did get deep with her. They got deep quickly. Again, we're saying that these new people should get to know, and the housewives have said it too. They should get to know the other wives for themselves. Anyway, Bose says, I'm getting to know both of you. She says this to Kyle. So she was like, oh, she's really mad. And she's really mad. Kyle says, I lost it. Bose says, I was sitting next to you like, this girl's on fire, and not like the Alicia Keys, but like legit on fire. Kyle says, I lost it because I was thinking to myself, you're starting to try to make it seem like something's inappropriate. You know, I'm not that person. Don't try to make me out to be somebody I'm not. We all know that I'm not that girl. Listen, if it bothered her, of course I would not speak to PK. I wouldn't want anyone talking to my husband. So you say you wouldn't want anyone talking to her husband. I guess the thought, and look, I never give her the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna give it to her. Maybe she didn't think of it until Dorit brought it to her attention. Then it was put in her face. Oh, we're going through the same thing. What I want my friends talking to my husband. Because sometimes that happens, right? You'll do something and someone will be like, well, would you want that done to you? And you're like, oh crap. You know what? You're right. So who knows? Maybe. She says, Bo says, I think one of the challenges you were having is that you don't see each other in the same way, the same friendship. She said, look, I have like 174 besties. I'm one of those type people. And I have one bestie who thinks she's my only one. And she sends me nasty notes when she sees me at dinner with someone else. Kyle says, I have a lot of close friends too. And Kyle says, I think that Dorit I'm sorry, Bo says, I think that maybe Dorit may believe that, like basically feel the same way as her friend. Kyle says, you're probably right. And I think, Kyle says, you're probably right. And I think that what I think is close is different than how she thinks close is. So closeness in a friendship, what I think is close and what she thinks is close are two different things. She said, if I'm close to somebody, I share everything. She's not that person. She doesn't share anything. They show a flashback to Dorit and Kyle in 2023. And what is Dorit doing? Sharing how she's feeling about her and PK and where they're at right now. But anyway, in her confessional, Bose says, how? Basically, like, how is Dorit not sharing anything? She told me the first moment we met. So she hasn't told Kyle, her close friend, about what's happening in her marriage? I don't think so. Bose says she stopped by to see me after the surgery. And basically, you not showing her the text is really bothering her. Um, and she says, wouldn't you think it was weird if she was sending the text and didn't show you the text? Bose says she only, wait, did she say that? Got my notes because I use voice to text. I told y'all. Um, Kyle says maybe if you're a manipulative person, you would think someone's being manipulative. Bose said, oh, not, and then stops. Kyle says, you want to know something funny? You know that she got so much. So there was a whole rumor basically that Dorit and Mo, there was a Dorit and Mo rumor. And she shows a picture of she has in her phone. And it was a still that somebody else had posted back when Dorit's robbery, right? And they were all at Kyle's. I think it was, were they at Kyle's house or Dorit and PK's house? And they were in a group hug. Dorit, PK, and Mo. And Dorit was rubbing Mo's back and kind of like kissed his back, right? Kyle has that screenshot in her phone at the ready. Is that something that you've been harboring on? Because if you saw that online, Someone saying, oh, they're too close. Because Kyle is telling Bose, Dorit got accused of a rumor with PK, I mean, with Mo because of this, and shows the picture. So you've had that in your phone for how long? Why is that still in your phone? Is it so that you knew that one day you'd be able to use it for something? Because what? Anyway, that's still in your phone. She said Dorit had to go and defend herself. So don't even get me freaking started about sending stupid memes. So now that's a and oh, so me and I said, so now that's a problem, Kyle. You've had this in your phone the whole time. Tit for tat. So Bose says what I was thinking, tit for tat, tit for tat. Kyle says, um, because of principle, I'm not going to sit here and pull out my phone and basically show her. Boz says, but that's what she wants you to do. And Kyle says, on principle, basically she can go F off. And Boz said, oh, in her confessional, Boz says, oh, they say a hit dog gonna holler. And Kyle is hollering. Next scene, we see Garcelle arrive at Sutton's house. Then Kyle comes. They plan a surprise to take Erica out because Erica says she didn't get a pizza party when she was going through all of her stuff. But Kathy, Sutton, and her gave Kyle a pizza party. So they show up at Erica's house, and Erica is surprised it was the three of them because she thought it was just going to be Kyle. They get in the car. Erica's basically like, where are we going? Right before they get there, they blindfold Erica and they say, listen, basically, you said that we didn't give you a pizza party, so we brought you to the ultimate pizza place. They take the mask off. They're at Chuck E. Cheese. Now, when Sutton and them were leaving her house, I said, Sutton keep a roadie, don't she? Every time she in a car, she got a cup of something. I said, I told y'all that Southern Belle always full of Southern comfort. Anyway, moving along. Sutton says her guest list for that night, taking out Erica, was very select. Dorit is not invited for obvious reasons. She wants to go at Kyle's throat, and she hates me too. Bose is recovering from surgery, so we will leave her out tonight. I said, if Sutton had been going at it with somebody but wasn't invited to something, it would be like her not being in on the shots joke that Kathy Hilton played a couple seasons ago, Crystal's first season. It would be like that all over again, her not included in the joke. It would be like her not being included going in on a present for Garcelle's birthday, like Crystal and Kyle, I think, and a couple others did. Girl, please. Anyway, in her confessional, Erica says, something is strange here. First, I thought I was just meeting with Kyle, and here comes Garcelle and Sutton. Basically, are they going to kidnap me? Like I said, because I had jumped ahead, they blindfolded her. They get to Chuck E. Cheese. In her confessional, she said, I just knew that my fancy girlfriends were going to take me on a private plane somewhere where we can get away. But instead, they took me to Chuck E. Cheese. But I do like Chuck E. Cheese, though. So they play games. They have fun. They order pizza. They sit down at the table, and Sutton tells her, in all seriousness, what you've done to pull yourself up is remarkable. Erica says, thank you. Sutton says, I'm proud of you. Erica, you seem to be the most on track. Erica says, well, I was off the most at first. I think things are just calmer now. Others have done it. She knew that if others had gotten basically back on track, she knew that she could too. In her confessional, she said Tom is getting ready to go to trial. So while she's excited about all of her great new interiors and moving forward with her life, there's Tom waiting to go to trial. And you know what? No matter what, no matter what you want to say, it sucks. Erica says, I don't think I'll ever be married again. She tells the ladies, I don't think I'll ever be married again. I don't want a legal contract with someone like that again, but I would love to have someone in my life. Garcelle says that's valid. Sutton says never say never. Someone asked her if she felt the same, like not wanting to get married. And she said no, but her business is bringing her happiness right now. Garcelle says, and having your children see that too, that's good. Sutton says 100%. Garcelle says, also for you teaching your girls that they need to protect themselves. And she was saying that to Kyle. Kyle says, they have said to me they would be devastated if they saw her basically crumbling in bed instead of living her life. Garcelle says, he calls you a lot, FaceTimes you a lot. They show a flashback to her Denim and Diamonds party where Mauricio had FaceTime Kyle and they were talking. Garcelle says, so you don't have boundaries with that yet. And Kyle says, we're moving real slow with this whole thing, that's for sure. And I guess they got to move at their pace. maybe either of them, even though Mo be out there doing his thing allegedly. Well, we've seen him kissing people, folks and stuff. It's like the divorce is final. You know what I mean? So maybe they're moving slow because they both may not be quite ready for that finality of it. Even though Mauricio wants to be able to do what he wants to do, there's still something final about a divorce. In her confessional, Garcelle says, I know when you're going through a separation, you kind of go your separate ways. You can do your own thing and then maybe see if you want to come back together. I don't think these two know what they want, or at least Kyle seems like, or at least Mo seems like, or Kyle seems like she's not sure. That's what she said. And from that, she was saying Mo seems like he's sure. I don't know. Kyle says, yeah, I don't know. I think he likes the condo life. Garcelle said, I like it too. And she also says, I'm going to be 100% blunt. Do whatever the F you want to do. Be whoever you want to be. If you want to be a lesbian, be a lesbian. Child, the way they all look at her like, say what now? They all start laughing. Sutton says, what did you just say? In her confessional, Kyle is truly at a loss for words. In her confessional, Sutton says, Garcelle, why? And she starts laughing. In her confessional, Erica says, Garcelle asked the questions that sometimes I secretly want to ask, but I ain't doing it. And Garcelle in her confessional says, we are women of a certain age. We're people's mothers. We're bosses. We're businesswomen. Be whoever you want to be. Then they bring up Dorit, and Erica says how her and Dorit met up and they spoke. Erica says, we spoke about how you two got heated, meaning Kyle and Dorit, and we talked about the text messaging of it all. And she says, she just wants to know, like, wants Kyle basically to lay everything out with the text message situation. Kyle says the fact that she's trying to make it seem like anything inappropriate is gross. I don't think Dorit is. I think Dorit wants to know, just like, so you're texting, like, what y'all texting? I'm asking a question because I don't know, which is why I'm asking. And I'm not going to get to a point in my life where I'm, having to pull out my phone because I'm an adult and that's an effing joke. But she pulls out the phone anyway and says, I'm going to do it just one time for nobody else. And then she reads the text. Basically, it was the day they made the announcement. Kyle sent a text to PK and was like, I know you have a lot of friends, but I'm one too. I've never shared anything you've ever said, and I never would. That was just a part of the text. They immediately cut to Sutton's confessional, and she says, wait a minute. This is not just about memes and jokes. This is serious talk. Clearly, relationship things they've shared, that they've talked about Garcelle in her confessional says they've clearly shared things about the relationship or whatever that nobody else knows about. And they got that because Kyle says, I've never shared, I know you have a lot of friends, but where is it? I know you had I know you had a lot of friends. I've never shared anything you've ever said, and I never would. So they're thinking like they must have had a conversation because Kyle said, I've never shared what you said, and I never would. Which, hearing that, I would think that too. Because she didn't just say, I know you have a lot of other friends. I just want you to know that we're friends. I'm here for you. Whatever you share, because we are friends, we have our own friendship, it'll be in confidence. She shared, I've never shared anything and I never would. So that would make me think that they may have had conversations too. And no one's saying inappropriate, but just about Dorit and the relationship or what have you. Anyway, all this time, Kyle's really trying to defend the text and saying, basically, it's not true. Kyle says, I'm sorry, wait, let me go back because I got that wrong. When Garcelle's in her confessional, she's saying that Kyle and PK obviously had text messages and talked about the relationship or whatever that no one knows about. All this time, Kyle is really defending that. Basically, it's just innocent, and that's not true. Kyle, and also in the text, Kyle had put, they'll continue to send each other memes and jokes. She said, that's what I wrote to him. I'm not going to have her be a bitch to me and have her paint me as someone I'm not continuously. And the fact that she would actually makes me never, ever want to repair anything with her. Again, I get why they're thinking, y'all must have had conversations about this before for you to say, I've never shared anything and never would. And then you add in the fact that she didn't text Dorit, I guess because, again, they were in a bad space, but still. We're at Bose's home. Bose's home. Garcelle comes over. I love this scene. I love seeing the two of them together. Child, and she arrived with Jamaican food. She later tells Bose she tried to get Haitian, but they were out of Haitian, so she got Jamaican. They was getting ready to eat good. Bose says, "Oh, other people want to bring you brought me food. Other people want to bring me flowers." So they hug. Garcelle asks her how she's feeling. Bose says, "I had to have surgery. She was suffering with fibroids, and they got 10 out." And Garcelle was like, "Oh." Bose says, "Wait a minute, my alarm's about to go." Bose says, "I'm so glad to get to do this with you, honestly." Garcelle says, "I know we haven't had a chance to do this." Well, y'all, I just want to make sure my alarm does not go off. Bose says, "We haven't had a chance to do this." No, I'm sorry. Bose says, "I'm glad to be here with you. I'm glad to be here with you. Honestly." Garcelle says, "I know we haven't had a chance to do this. Dorit is an embryo up your coochie." Garcelle. Bose says, "Can I throw something? Can I throw something? Can I find my phone?" So Bose says to Garcelle, "I find this all so strange. I do." In her confessional, Bose says, "This is so juvenile that I really can't even wrap my mind around it. I happen to like Dorit. Just because they don't like Dorit doesn't mean that I can't like her. What is this? Some sort of click?" In the scene, Garcelle says, "You know what it is with Dorit? I have to say, the common denominator of her is that we'll take 2 steps forward and then take 3 steps back. So we never really feel like we're moving forward." Bose says, "Well, why?" Garcelle says, "I don't know why. But one, she talks a lot. And in a way, I appreciate sometimes in the details because it makes the story better, but not like all the time." Bose says, to me, for me coming in, basically, I was like, oh, wow, what a terrible thing this woman is going through. This is a horrible situation in her marriage. Um, she's trying to keep a smile on her face. She's got problems with her bestie. I was like, oh, shoot, well, let me build a bridge. Nico brings out their food. It looks so good. Kyle says, I think for her, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Garcelle says, I think for her and Kyle on what they've been through, they were thick as thieves for a long time. And then there came a big shift. So obviously it's painful, for the both of them. And then Garcelle says, like, when we were in the Viper room, it looked like it was going to get physical. And I've never seen it like that. I mean, whether people say Dorit is putting on or not, I do feel, again, I feel like two things can be true. People are saying Dorit is doing this for a check. I feel like these are things that Dorit has always been feeling, and she's now saying them. She thought she was under the protection of being Kyle's friend before, and now I got to step up and earn my check. So I'm going to do it by just letting out everything that I've been feeling. They were going at it. Anyway, Bose says, I didn't know that there was that kind of vitriol there. Like, that was real anger. Garcelle said it was really hard to watch. And then she said, she looks at Bose, and I love this. The look, she says, she read the text. Huh? Bose says. Garcelle says, Kyle read the text. Bose says, I'm sorry. And that is so funny because that is and listen, I'm just speaking for Black girls, Black women, but I know if my friend tells me something that I can't believe, I'll say, I'm sorry. Like, I know you lying. Like, I'm sorry is like a synonym for, I know you lying. So Bose says, I'm sorry. Garcelle said, the text said, and I'm paraphrasing, but this is Garcelle says she's paraphrasing. Garcelle says the text, and I'm paraphrasing, says something like, I won't say anything. I never have. Bose literally gasps, like, and Garcelle says, that part. Bose said, oh, hell no. Garcelle says, that part. Bose says, I can't compute. Carry the 5, divide the 3. It makes no sense. In her confessional, Bose says, so Kyle doesn't know the definition of friendship, and she doesn't know the definition of nothing going on, because clearly there's something going on. This is proof of that. She is actively talking to PK in a way that's not superficial. That's not what she told me. So she lied. The way Garcelle and Bose are looking at each other, I was getting my life seeing these two beautiful Black queens have a kiki, just sit shoes off on Bo's couch, eating food, talking ish with their girl about what's going on, the craziness going on in their group. Bo says, how's she gonna find out? Garcelle says, oh, I don't know. Bo says, you gonna tell her. And the episode ends. I enjoyed Beverly Hills, not in the way that I enjoy Salt Lake City, in a different way. I'm loving Bose. I'm loving that she's speaking up, speaking out, and again is willing to hear the other ladies be like, well, now wait a minute, blah, blah, blah. And I loved seeing her and Garcelle. I do. I love seeing the Black girls bond. I really did. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the episode. Um, I'm already imagining Kyle at the reunion, coming up with stuff now to like defend her behavior at the reunion. Whew. Can't wait to see it. All right, y'all. I will talk to y'all later. And let me know what y'all think about this. Let me know what y'all think about this latest episode of Beverly Hills. Let me know what y'all think about Beverly Hills overall so far this season. I have to say, I feel like Erica is playing it good. I really do. Again, from the very beginning, Erica was never a favorite of mine. I didn't really see it for Erica. It was just like, she was just there for me. I just didn't, even when the storylines revolved around her, she wasn't. But I think she can have her funny moments, but I think that she's playing it real good this season. And I like in the after show, she sticks to her thoughts about something, even if Kyle doesn't agree. I appreciate that. I do wish they would say in the scenes to Kyle some of the stuff they say in confessionals when it comes to Kyle and Dorit. But other than that, I'm enjoying Beverly Hills, but in a different way than Salt Lake City. Like, it's not really appointment TV like Salt Lake City is. Speaking of, it's 8:05. I got to go. Talk to y'all later. See ya.